Yo, what's poppin', Bagel Bros, and welcome back to another Patreon rant. Sorry for this one being so late, this one and the next one. It's currently March 5th, these were supposed to be out February 28th. I was busy locking in, I'm sorry. If you want one of these for yourself, be sure to give me $10 a month on Patreon. This one comes from DeckDevilYGO, who says, "Good evening, Gremlin. We all know someone had to ask about this. Rant about the most recent Epstein file drop fiasco." So, the Epstein files. They've been the biggest story in America for a long time. Now, I'm not especially informed about the new Epstein files drop. I watched CoffeeZilla's initial video on it. Apparently, it is quite the big drop of Epstein files. Something like 3 million files, if I'm remembering correctly. The main stuff from that video I saw was that Bill Gates, was getting women flown out from other countries, to have sex with them with the help of the whole Epstein operation. And then he got an STD. He wanted to give his wife STD medication without her knowing, because obviously, his wife wouldn't be okay with that. And so Epstein had figured out about this, tried to blackmail him, and all sorts of other shit. There was apparently a documentary on Epstein. This documentary was trying to rehabilitate his image, even though he was already a known sex trafficker at that point. He'd been convicted. Let me see. This wasn't in the video, but I had heard that there was some kind of, at least evidence or allegations or whatever, of like ritualistic human sacrifice where they ate the shit from someone's intestines. I have no idea how true that is, but if true, that's pretty crazy. And there were some more allegations about Trump in the new files. I really should be better read about this, but the thing is, I'd like to take this in a bit of a unique direction, because what I have been looking at a lot this month is Trump's absolutely abhorrent presidency. Now, I don't talk politics much on my socials. I wouldn't even say a bit more vocal lately. I made one blue sky tweet, whatever, about fucking ICE being bad, which is a pretty common sense perspective that I think a lot of people hold. But, I've kept mum about a lot of my thoughts on Trump, mainly because I haven't been well researched on him, and I still wouldn't consider myself particularly well researched politically. However, after listening to his speeches, particularly recently, I've been putting on a lot of Atrioc stuff from his second channel, which has all been pretty interesting. But the main thing that stuck out to me about Trump is how little of a shit he gives about any underlying principles or whatever. What he mainly wants is to be seen as a great president down the line. He is obsessed with his legacy. So, for example, he wants the legacy of adding land to America. He wants to bring back Manifest Destiny. And so, at the beginning of his term, he calls Gulf of Mexico Gulf of America. Now it's American. I'm gonna go down as the guy who changed the name of something on the map. Then he goes to Canada and he's like, "Canadians, you all want to be part of the United States, right? Come on, join us." Obviously, they don't actually want to join the United States on average, but Trump is pushing that narrative. Then, eventually, this year, he pushes for a naked land grab of Greenland. He wants Greenland real bad. Obviously, that did not go to plan. But nonetheless, he tried. Another thing he wants to go down as is the greatest president in history. He wants to go down as the one who fixed the economy, who made life better for everyone. And so, in all his speeches, instead of acknowledging that there are problems in America, all he does is he say, "Listen, all those problems, that was Biden. Biden did all that. He was a shit president, but I'm not a shit president. I'm fixing all the problems, even though people are noticing that inflation is still a big deal. They aren't able to live comfortably. It's taking longer to find jobs. The job market is complete shit right now. We have an ongoing AI epidemic, and Trump is doing nothing about it. So, instead of acknowledging all that, because he's obsessed with looking like the greatest president ever, of having this legacy, he just sticks his head in the sand. He just says everything is great. Nothing is wrong, even though people live their day-to-day lives and feel like something's wrong, feel like something's not right. And where I'm going with this is that none of this really matters. His naked land grab of Greenland, no one's going to remember that 50 years from now. No one's going to give a shit. The economy, no one's going to remember that. There might be a few paragraphs about the ICE raids because they are, let's be real here, truly abhorrent. But even that will pale in comparison to the one thing people will remember about Trump. That he was the Epstein president. That he was the president who was in the Epstein files and was in office while being in the Epstein files, while it was known that he was in the Epstein files. He will be known as the one who at first said, those Epstein files, they need to come out. The Democrats are hiding them. Then switched to saying they're a Democrat hoax and I'm completely innocent despite being in the files a bunch of times. Oh, those allegations are a lie. My relationship with Epstein, nothing fishy to see here. He'll be known as the president who said that the Epstein files, we should just forget about them. What? That's old news. Come on. Let's just go to something more contemporary, like Venezuela or Iran. Let's do that instead. I ended 8 wars, guys. That's another thing he says a lot. He wants to go down as the president who ended 8 wars. Despite starting this most recent one in Iran. He will go down for being in the Epstein files. He'll be known as the pedophile president from now until the end of time. 50 years from now, none of the minutia will matter. We'll just know him for being the Epstein guy. I mean, think about it like this. What do you know about President Nixon? I know that he was the Watergate guy, and I could tell you hardly anything else. Trump's going to be the same way. This is a bigger scandal than the Watergate scandal. And really, it's astonishing that he's even still in office at this point after he's done so much insane shit. But most of all, he's the Epstein guy. He was the guy who oversaw the release of the first batch of Epstein files, which were all fucking half the world's supply of black ink went to redacting those things. His legacy is forever tarnished. He's not going to have any legacy outside of this. And as someone who hates Trump, that's a pretty good deal, honestly. It would be a better deal if he was out of office, but hey, going down as a horrible president, as the Epstein guy, pretty good deal. That's about it. See ya.